Okay, it's preparing to live stream the meeting. Okay, we're live on YouTube.
We're live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
So, greetings everyone, and welcome to another episode or edition or session, whatever you want to use, of Diamond Roundtable, which is an initiative put together by our brother here, Atiba. He's down at Atiba Visions. This is actually his vision. The idea is to bring our communities together. Those are people of African, Caribbean, etc., African heritage. And for us to look at really how can we monopolize, how can we create wealth, generational wealth, out of travel and tourism, because as I say each and every week, we are truly blessed to come, or that our heritage comes from the islands in the Caribbean, those nations that are just stunningly beautiful, great tourist resorts, and someone's making a lot of money. And the question is, how can we, as the actual people of those islands, of that diaspora, some of us were born there, some of us have parents who maybe were born in the Caribbean, but how can we really make something out of this paradise almost? So yeah, let's look at alternatives, because as I say, every week someone's making money, but it doesn't seem to be local people, it doesn't seem to be our community. And so we've been doing this since February now. It's May, meaning that it's now, I believe, 7 months, if I'm correct. There's this been going on, and it means that Diamond Roundtable is now well established and no longer, as I kept saying, week in, week out, a toddler or a teenager. It's a well established platform. And today's topic, every week, obviously, we choose a different topic and we discuss it as a mechanism for putting together some sort of travel options, travel packages, etc. next year. And so tonight we're talking about building institutional structures, or an institutional structure, rejuvenating the travel industry, by rejuvenating the travel industry. So yes, each and every week I ask people to chip in, to share their voices, their opinions on the topic, to share their knowledge, what we can all learn from each other. So I hope that I will hear some voices other than my own. And I'll start by, of course, handing over to our brother Atiba, who is responsible for the many platforms that are supporting this initiative. So our brother Atiba, what's happening? The topic, building institutional structures, or an institutional structure, rejuvenating the travel industry.
Well, good evening. We've got the network Rejuvenation, which has over 700 plus real life individuals inside of a WhatsApp network. And we're just looking at how now we can connect the Diamond Roundtable to the Rejuvenation Network using the format of Carnival, because that's what predominantly our community love, and start to get some packages and some flights going. Me and Isis were looking at some structures today in regards to building, actually structuring an institution, and yeah, hence why we're here today.
Thank you. So yeah, how do we build an institution? We've got, we may differ on opinions, but we have the makings of, if not an institution, a fledgling one, something that is capable of being one. But institutions take structure, they need processes that's like building blocks, like building a house. And so how do we get together and use the resources we have, our knowledge and skills and experience, to actually build this together? That's what we're really looking at. Because as we keep saying every week, we've got to take control of the travel and tourism industry somehow. We can't continue not to benefit from it when it brings in so much money to other people. Should I be quiet? Either Karina or Mish, do you want to say something? We'd love to hear your voices, of course.
Good evening, everyone.
Greetings.
Sorry, I'm listening with half an ear because I'm sort of doing something else at the minute. So that's why I'm not really saying much.
I hear you. I know what it's like. Karina? Because you don't want to keep hearing me all evening. That would be so boring.
Yeah, I'm here, I'm listening. I'm just trying to see how I can be able to contribute in terms of what can be put forward for the tourism industry. Have you guys done anything that you can be able to raise money in terms of putting it towards this business venture?
Well, the thing is, this is not what Atiba has envisaged. It's not really a non-profit. It's not the sort of thing that you kind of like a charity. It's actually an entrepreneurial initiative. It's about actually generating income, but keeping it within communities, within our community, or at least creating the circumstances in which we can enter into that space where that wealth is generated, if you see what I'm saying. So I'm not sure it would attract kind of funding per se. There are other things, I'm sure. I mean, Atiba runs a number of different platforms and stuff. I'm sure there's other things that he's doing perhaps that can do that. I don't know what he's done to explore that. But as for Diamond Roundtable, where we're looking at how we get these packages, how we put together this stuff, I'm not too sure whether we'd be able to fundraise in that way. I mean, we could go for sponsorship, and that's a way to think about money.
That's true. And then it's good in terms of like getting your name out there as well, and people want to partner up with you, because if you want to do like some of these tourism packages, in terms of like when it comes to the flight deals, you have like an airline that you're looking to work with.
Exactly. I mean, I think some of the next steps, I mean, we were hoping to do an face-to-face, a live, should we say, in real life, in Diamond Roundtable meeting in October, but we haven't, the space that we were offered, we are not content with. So we are looking for a space that we think is more suitable. So we have to postpone that for now. But the idea is really to bring people together to create these packages, to create these opportunities for travel innovation.
Yeah, because I think, if we're going to create some packages for travel as well, partnering up with an airline is really good.
So perhaps one of the things we could be doing is starting to reach out to some of the airlines that might be interested in supporting this kind of, or working to this initiative.
Absolutely. I think that's a good way to actually go as well, because then the airline will also benefit from you kind of doing these packages. So in terms of that, I don't know if it's like you have to do like written proposals to them, or I don't know the process of how you approach them in that sense.
What airlines do you suggest? What airlines do you suggest? What airlines do you suggest, just out of curiosity?
I'm just going to put some names out there. Maybe like Virgin Airways, like getting in contact with Richard Branson. I think he's good. I'm just trying to think of other additional airlines. I don't know, people like Delta Airlines as well. Usually their flights are quite affordable.
Delta Airlines, Virgin
Yeah.
Air. Okay.
And
Yeah.
you've got some of these like third party sites like is it like Thomas Cook and so forth. So if you want to have your packages, maybe approaching someone like that as well. So these are the type of like packages that you want to deliver. And in terms of like if that was going to be advertised with them, what would the fees would be?
Mm.
I,
And
I,
so
I, I like I like the initial idea in regards to partnering up with an airline, to be honest, more than the
yeah,
Thomas Cook stuff. That's
yeah.
that's definitely a lot more better. What's it called?
Because I think when you're working in things like um within the tourism industry, also you can think about the different partners that come from different industries that you can consider in terms of
Mm,
approaching. And especially, like athletes as well, like if you've got like athletes that is like from Trinidad, like try and find some very good known athletes as well. So I don't know,
mm,
like when it comes to do more of the branding aspects of it, maybe if they come on board with some of it, it kind of looks good for the expansion of the business.
It's interesting
mm,
because as you mentioned Thomas Cook, I was sort of having a quick look, as one does really, at what they offer, and actually I can't see anything around the Caribbean. There's lots of things for Majorca and Turkey and Canary Islands and other parts of Spain and stuff. I suppose I don't know, maybe Canary Islands don't consider themselves part of Spain, but parts of Spain, etc., Greece, but nothing for the Caribbean.
Yeah, so that's why I feel like it's good just to kind of find out like how do you propose your idea to
Mm-hmm.
these people, because clearly there's like a niche market, especially when it comes to Caribbean and things within the tourism industry. There's not really a lot
Mm-hmm.
out there, so I think that is a good way to possibly um, kind of get your idea out there, because
Mm-hmm.
like for instance, we know like um,
mm,
like when you go like on safari trips, like we can always know that that's kind of related to places like Kenya, and it's like what is going to be your niche area that you can really highlight what the Caribbean has to offer as well. Yes, you might have carnival, but there must be other different things as well to make it like a big like, oh my goodness, like I want to travel over to that country.
mm.
So yeah, you have to kind of find all your unique selling points, I guess, and just really highlight that, and then
Actually,
put a
there's
proposal to
actually
that.
another site on thomascook.com that deals with the Caribbean, and they've got Aruba, Jamaica, St. Lucia, and Tobago, and Antigua as their main destination, should we say.
Mm.
So that's
Mm.
interesting. Thomas Cook are on it. Yeah.
So I know like there's many other different companies out there as well, but I just can't think of like the names from the top of my head. But
TUI.
yeah, but it's probably good to look into that.
Yeah. Again, TUI are doing the same sort of thing. They've got Aruba, Antigua. Well, they've got Barbados, Curacao, Grenada, Dominican Republic, Cuba, and the Bahamas as destinations. So that's again interesting. I just remember them as a suitcase company, and now they seem to have an airline and package holidays. So how they've gone up in the world, eh? Yeah. So TUI are flying to these places. So it's actually interesting to watch and monitor which airlines are flying to which Caribbean countries. You get a sense of who's doing what,
Mm.
Of course,
Another thing as well. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, of course, British Airways always fly to some parts of the Caribbean. No,
Yeah. Do you know
I don't
what
think
part?
they're easy to work with or get. I can't imagine. Yeah.
You say they're easy to work with, you say?
I can't imagine that they're that easy to work with because they're British Airways. You know, they're kind
Yeah,
of like
they're quite a very big brand out there. So maybe like trying the smaller
No.
people, like like Delta. Delta's a little bit more smaller, but they're still quite good.
Hello?
Their price-
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Karina?
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
gonna be.
We're Diamond Roundtable.
I know it's coming next. Yeah.
Do you know what the diamond represents? Represents wealth. Yeah. So what's it called? So like, there's no bloody, what's it called? You know, me and Isis, I was telling Isis this the other day. I don't know if you know this, Karina, but do you know tarmac on the road?
Mm.
Do you know where that comes from?
No, I couldn't say that I do. I never really looked into it.
It comes from a place in Trinidad called La Brea. There's
Okay.
a place in La Brea in Trinidad called La Brea,
Mhm.
and it's got asphalt. I think that's how you pronounce it, asphalt.
We
And
call it the
Okay.
pitch lake.
yeah, it's called the pitch lake. Yeah, and it produces a thing
Okay.
called asphalt in Trinidad, the country that
Mhm.
your family is from. Yeah, and everywhere you see tarmac in the whole, most countries that you see tarmac in the world, so all the runways, everything that comes from Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So when you understand that or you overstand that and you're like, right, hold on a minute, I'm from a
Mm.
country that produces all of these materials that is the runways that the same British Airways plane is going on and stuff.
Mm.
It's like, nah, everything. I want everything. Fuck that. And that's
Mm.
it. Like, so that's why this is called Diamond Roundtable, is to produce that particular mindset and to think bigger,
Mm.
not to think, raw. Oh yeah, that's British Airways. Shit, man, can't bloody talk to British Airways. They're British Airways. Who the fuck? Empire. Let me just, you get me?
Mm. No, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. So that's my type of thinking. It's like really and truly, they should be paying me because I'm from Trinidad and Tobago to just be on that flight.
Mm.
Or that, all right, that's a whole nother type of energy. But
Mm.
yeah, but this is why it's called Diamond Roundtable, is to have that certain type of top tier level mindset, to think bigger, to not think, right, okay, we are boxed in this current point in time, but it's to think on a more higher level, man. Like, like, what's it called? Even myself and Isis, we went to see something the other day, and in regards to a space to do the Diamond Roundtable, I saw 3 rooms. Yeah, I saw 3 rooms. Yeah, on the 4th room, Karina, yeah, that wasn't even on the list for the rooms. Yeah, was some big theater. Yeah,
Mm.
like I said, Isis, there is no way I saw this big theater and I'm gonna even accept us doing a Diamond Roundtable at any of those other 3 rooms.
Mm.
It just doesn't even make sense, because
Mm.
if with this Diamond Roundtable event sort of thing, if we was to do an in-person event, I'll be looking at
Mm.
inviting high commissioners, councillors, things of that type of nature. So
Right.
and airlines and travel agents and stuff like that. So if they was to come into something of that type of nature, what they should come into straight away should be on a certain level. Do you get me? Off the back of what we've been producing there. So that's how my mind thinks. And then obviously, and hopefully that could transfer on to anyone else that's listening here today, to think that way. Like, what? British Airways? They should be giving us money. They should be coming to us. Diamond Roundtable.
Yeah, that's a very positive approach to this. And yes, we had to give up on the idea of using the smaller room because the Tiba would not have it. So he's determined that anything that we do has to be really, on point.
Well, you have got quite a lot of members that is a part of the round table. So I guess you need a space so you can be able to accommodate them as well as other people that want to join. So I can understand where he's coming from.
One of the things we really want to focus on, and maybe, it'd be good to hear what you and Mish think as well, and I suppose Sam Hackney too, but about really reaching out and getting more of the high commission, not the high commissions, the tourist boards or travel boards for each of the Caribbean islands to come and do some more presentations, because I felt that was really helpful. I don't know what people think.
Yeah, definitely. Going on from what Karina was saying about, and what you guys were saying about forming connections, partnerships with people. Atiba, you've organised events before. I went to the Trinidad and Tobago Independence thing that you organised, and you had a number of stands around. So you could maybe organise another event like that to bring key players in the travel industry together, so that people could, and you can have stalls around, and you get representatives from each of the airlines, maybe some of the hotels, think places that people will stay once they reach their destination, even people doing Airbnb, bed and breakfast, and so on, so forth. So you connect everyone together, and then you can create these packages. So that's an idea. Another organization that I've heard about in the past, I don't know if they still operate, but basically it was like a club. So the more members they the more members they got, the cheaper you would get things for.
The Caribbean something club, wasn't it?
Caribbean Reunion Club.
I think yeah. So you can maybe create something like that where you can get some members, get lots of members, and what you do is you go to these airlines and you say, I can book you 50 people or whatever, and the more people you book, the cheaper the flight becomes, because you've booked as a block booking, and so the price. And so you could create like that. So there's just a few ideas I was thinking of whilst people were talking.
So Michelle, the club part, that sounds great. What's it called? Can look into that. In regards to the event part, that's basically what I was just mentioning with when me and Isis went to see the venue. So that was what we was basically in the process of doing. But the rooms that they showed me and Isis, basically, when I saw the rooms that they were presenting in regards for us having, I said no. Because once I saw another space that wasn't even on the list of the free rooms, I was like, there's no way I saw that space.
That was my mistake.
Yeah. Listen, there was no way I saw that space. Yeah. And then you're going to give me any of those other free spaces. Yeah. I don't even.
There was one of them in particular that was just too small. That was just like a classroom. So that wouldn't have been any use, definitely.
Nah.
But yeah, that one that we did see, the one you liked, is very nice. I mean, it is really nice.
Nah.
What about? I can't even remember how big it is because it's been a long time since I've been up there. Is it the Commonwealth Institute or something.
Oh, that doesn't exist anymore, sis. They got rid
Does
of
it?
it.
Does it not really?
No, they got rid of it. Yeah, I know, it was lovely. I used to take my daughters there all the time, but yeah, that's gone now. It's called and funny enough, we actually visited. That's one of the places we visited. It's now called the Design Museum, and I went to visit that as well earlier in the summer. We've been going around trying to scout out the right place for these Diamond Roundtable, but he's very fussy about how this thing.
Have you tried the British Library? Because they sometimes have rooms and that there. I don't know.
Actually, I mean, the British Library is not a bad idea. I do like that place. I suppose we were looking at somewhere that might have more of a connection, like so. The Commonwealth, well, the Design Museum, because it was previously the Commonwealth Institute, it seemed like a good space, but it's a very expensive space as well. And then so our School of Oriental and African Studies, we thought, well, that's kind of, you know what I'm saying? So we were looking at like places that
connect. But the British Library have got a section for business people or some business area or something like that. So maybe you could do it.
Check that out. I suppose there's also Goldsmiths University, which I didn't think about. Actually, they've got some great spaces in Goldsmiths. Actually, that's a good idea. I should actually find out if that's.
Also, because you know you're very much into the whole travel and tourist industry.
Karina, your phone's crackling up.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Is that a bit more better?
Still cutting in.
Hello.
You're cutting up a little bit.
Audio.
Oh no. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but you're just crackling up a little bit. It's like you just.
Okay. I'm gonna.
You sound a bit robotic.
Right. Okay.
Have you tried moving around a bit?
No, I've been in the same place since I started the whole meeting.
It's funny, isn't it, the way that the connection just goes sometimes.
Yeah. Is it cracking up again?
Yeah.
We're still hearing you briefly, you know, like bitty, but
Bitty.
I mean, if you talk slowly, okay, we can hear you.
Sure. So I was thinking also approaching hotels like the Hiltons. You've got like many other different hotels where they've got like conference rooms. Perhaps you can see what it's like in terms of their conference rooms. And then it's also good to kind of build your business connections there, because if you want to use or do things in the travel and tourist industry, to know that you built your connections with the hotels, that is really good as well.
So making connections with hotels because of their particular, obviously, involvement with the travel and tourism industry. I suppose what would be great if we could create, well, first of all, do the research and find out which hotels are owned by our own people in the Caribbean. So, for example, I know with the Gambia, with the Mboka Festival that I'm involved in, when we go, you know, no longer for me because I've got my own contacts on the ground. But you know, the first time I went, we all stayed in hotels that were owned by Gambians, not like, you know, foreigners. Non-African. So in a way, if we could scout out or research and find out which hotels and which islands are owned by our own people, that would be a really nice way to connect and have like a network of Caribbean owned or African Caribbean owned hotels. That would be wonderful.
Most definitely. And also check out their conference rooms. So anytime you want to hold meetings there, it's quite good to do it at hotels as well.
But most of them don't let them out for free, though, do they? Do you think they might if they were involved in the event?
Oh my God! Hello. Oh my God! I met a guy today, actually. Well, he wasn't black, but I met a guy today from that event that I went to, and he what's it called? Me and him were speaking, and he runs what's the I can't remember off the top of my head what the organization's called, but he said to me, basically, if I could, because I meant to go back to him tomorrow with a proposal when I see him back at one event in the Excel. So like, yeah, this could be the event that I break down to him tomorrow. And they've got a space. I don't even know where the area is, but we were speaking about some business. So yeah, I'm gonna go speak to him about that tomorrow. Actually, that's okay. Cool. This is the reason why I was on here today. Not because this is me doing it. You know what I'm saying? This is the reason why I was on here today. I was literally gonna go to him with a whole like, come with a business. Yeah, so this is what I'll go with to him tomorrow. Okay. Yep, I'll take this to him tomorrow. This should be hopefully, and we'll see what happens.
You can also check out community rooms, like depending on which borough you live in, they sometimes have like community spaces that you can probably use for free, as long as you live in that borough. So maybe check out your local borough for community spaces.
No,
Yeah, some great ideas, I suppose. In terms of the spaces for the event, we just have to be aware that our brother here has some very high standards. So we can't be going for just any of traditional community rooms. Probably won't work. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of local authorities have, particularly if they have traditional old town halls, some of them have quite nice boardrooms and lecture room theatres and that sort of thing. So maybe we should be thinking about those sort of spaces. But then, sorry, yes.
No, go on.
No, carry on, my brother.
So if we did an event, obviously, Michelle, you said about obviously inviting the travel and tourism industry and stuff of that nature. And what else could you see being there?
Well, it will be an opportunity for these people to connect and interact, and then you yourself could come up with some packages where the person's got a flight, they've got an accommodation, and they've got some sort of tour package, so that it's not just them flying over and staying in the hotel. They've got some agents that take them around to visit key places. So that sort of thing. It's just bringing the whole thing together.
I suppose the other thing is reaching out to local tour guides. I know, again, coming back to some of the places I've been in West Africa, that they have a lot of projects whereby they train local people to be tour guides. So it's a means of income. So if someone's going to Antigua, for example, or St. Vincent or something, perhaps there's a local tour guide that we could put them in touch with, so that, again, the money goes into the hands of local people.
Sounds good.
So, Karina, so if you saw this event going to happen, then what kind of things would you want to see there?
So for me per se, I kind of want to see different new kind of packages. Like, for instance, if I was to get married, I want a package that if I'm going to be doing a honeymoon.
No, Karina, not the packages. I'm talking about the event.
The Diamond Roundtable event.
Okay. So it's a dining room table event. Is it going to be more of a networking event?
it definitely, yeah. We were thinking it would definitely be a more business networking event with speakers.
Yeah,
Innit?
yeah, because I think it's a good place that you can kind of bring people where together from many different industries that is kind of interested about what you can do or how they can possibly partner up with you. So
Mhm.
try to probably put something maybe on LinkedIn as well to kind of get proper business professionals knowing about what you do and get them to also want to engage in places like this. I think and just getting your like name out there, I suppose, will be quite helpful. Um, Also, like I do want to see like what type of packages that you have already as well.
Sorry, say again, please.
I would want to see like what type of packages that you do have already.
Well, I suppose
Okay.
we'd be creating them.
Yeah.
So when some of way back earlier on in the sort of genesis of this initiative, we had some conversations with, obviously, and we had presentations from tourist boards from Caribbean islands, and so we were able to look at the various things, for example, available in SVG, all the different islands, the volcanic stuff, the beaches, the whatever colored sand, black sand beaches, some of them, and pink sand beaches. So, people there were things where we looked at sort of what sort of nature sort of opportunities or outings or whatever would be available. So we'd be putting all those things together. And I suppose the idea would be to find out.
Yeah, I think just to kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
How do what mechanism can we use? What's the most effective way to reach out to people to find out what they want? If you're going home, if you're from the Caribbean, maybe you were born there, or you were born here in the diaspora, but you want to go home and you want to maybe go for a long visit for 3 months, or you want to just do what sort of visit do you want to do? Do you want to do a carnival thing? Like we spoke about 3 island packages, going to 3 different carnivals, 3 different islands.
Yeah.
Sorry, sis?
I think it's like, you have to probably do a lot of market research in terms of like people that you're trying to target. Like you could do like a history one, and then you can probably do more of like an entertainment one, or again seeing parts of like some of like the black sand, like a nature kind of one. So I don't know, maybe breaking it down into categories is really kind of good, because then people can probably pick, I want to know about the history, about the land, and then make it a little bit more specific as well. Or
Exactly.
like, for instance, you've got like some people that want to have like a beach wedding, and if they wanted something for their friends that are coming over, that they want to do some form of activities that is going to be in relation to something like that, like a wedding or something like that. So I don't know, you can just probably think about like breaking it down into categories, because then you got more like lower end packages that you have tailor made, and you kind of put together that for people to pick what seems quite appealing for them to do.
I mean, do you think that, for example, one of the things that we spoke about was also doing some tours or some trips to Europe or even around the country? We even spoke about maybe going to different carnivals in the UK, like because of the Carnival Rejuvenation network, maybe using that as a sort of hook for creating something, almost like a pilot a package where people will go to like 3 different carnivals as like a group. So it's a kind of a way of bonding people as well, and people getting to know each other, I suppose.
Oh, that's a good idea,
Oh, yeah.
Well, like coach trips.
Exactly, because I know that a friend of mine used to do those reunion trips, and they'd go down, and like mainly slightly, I suppose, Caribbean people of a certain age, 50 plus or whatever, and they'd probably go to different places like for soul weekenders and all that sort of thing. So there are lots of different kind of iterations of these things, that could happen.
Because already Rejuvenation's been invited to one carnival in the UK to have the guy said, yo, like to have a basically a tent down there, sort of thing. Like
a rejuvenation tent at carnival.
not like not a tent, but like how we saw how what's it called when I put up that visit Trinidad thing at the Holland Carnival.
Is it like a festival or something that you're referring to?
So no, there's carnivals across the UK.
Oh,
so,
like a stand, basically.
Yeah, a big stand. Yeah. So there's a carnival in the UK. I'm not going to say exactly where it is now until everything is fully confirmed, but it's more or less confirmed anyway. But there's a carnival in the UK, and they've asked Rejuvenation already to come down there next year and have a stand there, basically, in the carnival.
So yeah, we could think about
like a booth.
Like a booth, yeah. Yeah, well, that's a good idea. Again, that's promoting it. So it could the starting point in terms of we're talking about building an institution could be to actually set up the first package being something in Europe, and then maybe something 2 islands or 3 islands, maybe around Carnival, if that's the hook, and then to go further afield, because as we know, we've already heard that people obviously in our community don't particularly want to go for Carnival because it's not their thing, or as we know, I mean, certainly back home in TNT, Carnival the prices go up a lot. Sorry, sis?
Yeah, but Carnival over here in the UK has changed throughout the years. So it's like even that experience, some people are being very let down of the experience of Carnival, and I think it's something that needs to be revamped. In terms of like maybe
it's knowing that there's different options. So like I always say, and I've said it so many times on this platform, you can go, I mean, Trinidad, we're known for Carnival as our big thing. And yeah, that probably is our big thing. However, if somebody like me, who's really into steel pan, for example, more so than mass and all of that business, we have Borough Day in May, which is absolutely amazing event, especially if you love your steel pan. And it's beautiful, and it's music and whatever else. And so there are lots of people out there who might not want to do Carnival, but might want to go to Trinidad and enjoy pan. So, it's about knowing what alternatives there are and what opportunities there are on each of these islands, and really getting to know and research these Caribbean islands. So this is kind of some of the work that needs to be done to go into building the whole, the whole package, the whole kind of institution, as Atiba calls it, which is to get people involved in conducting this kind of research. Like you were saying, Karina, about going out and speaking to people and finding out what they actually want, because we've got an idea of what people who have come onto these sessions, what they've said they want, some of their experience and what they've shared. But if it's going to go further, like someone said, I can't remember if it was Misha or Karina. Obviously, if you book 50 seats on a plane, you're going to get a much better deal than 10. So if you can get the interest going. Yeah.
And the thing is that it's going to look very different from person to person in terms of also geographical location, age, and whatsoever. So I think it's just really like how you can kind of bring people together to enjoy that cultural experience as well.
Yeah, it is important that it's diverse, because we're not one type of community. We are, yes, we're African heritage, we're African Caribbean, or Caribbean, depending on our ancestry, but we're quite a diverse group of people, diverse interest. So we need to be able to cater for lots of different interests. But I think the guiding principle, the vision has to be that primarily the money, as much as possible, should circulate in the hands of people that look like us. And it should be sustainable as well. We want sustainability, because we don't need to contribute to the whole climate emergency. Certainly, the elders don't need to contribute to that because we need to leave a world for the young ones. So yes, sorry. Okay. I don't know if anyone else wants to chip in. We've got our brother Trini Make and Chris and our sister Dawn. I don't know if either of you have any views on creating an institution through kind of rejuvenation, this concept of carnival, of travel, tourism, creating packages. What could they look like? Okay. Maybe I'll go back to you, throw it back to you, Atiba. Have you got any feedback on what you've heard so far?
No, so obviously, like I said, today I met a guy and we was actually speaking about potentially using his space. I actually met him at an event in the XL today, and it's only on for one more day. And when he actually we spoke about it today, and we were speaking about doing a business networking event. But to be honest with you, it's sort of what's it called? Damn round table sort of flew over my head at that time. You know what I'm saying? So I was in like a totally different world. I was like, rah, you know what? So now today, when we've actually come back and we've sat here, I'm like, okay, I could formulate something, and hopefully when I go back to see him tomorrow, hopefully we can positively move forward from there in regards to what we were speaking about today, basically. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, that sounds positive. So let's see where we're at in terms of time. So we started 10 minutes late as usual. So we've got about another 12 minutes because we try to keep these sessions to an hour if possible, rather than letting it run on too long. Keep it interesting. Is there anything else that people want to contribute? I mean, what about the whole concept? We started off talking about building institutions. I mean, you know, in terms of for the things that we're looking at around travel and tourism, is there any sort of feedback or ideas or anything that you could contribute towards the concept of what a travel and tourism institution could look like that is fundamentally for enriching and creating generational wealth for people that look like us?
Well, if you create the membership club thing, that would be like an institution in itself. Plus, I'm thinking that you've got institutions for educational purposes, and you've got institutions for religious purposes, like churches and whatnot. So once you've established a big enough sort of membership club thing, whatever you want to call it, maybe you could create, you know, like ABTA, or, you know, like ABTA, or what's the other one?
Oh, but they're what do you call them? They're industry specific bodies that regulate. Right. They're about regulating travel and stuff like that.
Right, but maybe you can have an umbrella body that is for Black owned businesses.
Oh, right. Yeah. Of course. And I don't think we have something like that, do we?
Well, no.
No, you don't. We have directories.
First of all, who are these people? Who's this ABTA people? Like
ABTA, and I can't remember the name of the other one. There's two of them. There's ABTA.
Yeah, I know exactly. I'm trying to remember
something.
Yes, ATOL and ABTA. You're right.
Yeah,
they come up on everything, don't they?
Yeah, I think ATOL is for like planes and stuff. It's like if you book a holiday and the company goes bust or something, if you've booked it through an ATOL or ABTA or whatever, I think ABTA's for the travel agencies, and ATOL is the flight companies, like your Virgin.
They say they're a UK. The ATOL is a UK travel company that provides financial security when you book a package holiday with a UK travel company.
Right, there you go. So if you
So
book a
they help
holiday,
more with claims if something's gone wrong.
yeah, if you book a
And
holiday,
let me just
you're
check what
covered
the
if the company
acronym
goes
is.
bust.
Yes,
You won't
exactly.
lose your money.
Mm.
But they're like an
So they
institution.
kind of underwrite
Because
things.
but if you're trying to be legit as a company, one of these companies that do these package holidays and stuff, you have to register with one of them. So they're like an institution.
Yeah, so ABTA is a trade network or a trade association. So for example, yes, anybody who works in the travel industry, any organization, they would sign up to ABTA. So that's why you see it when you go on a website or whatever. Yeah, you will see ABTA whatever member or ABTA. Yes.
Yeah.
So they support the travel industry really. So yeah, thinking about exactly how you can create.
Or you could have a directory of Black travel agents, or a directory of Black airlines, or a directory of Black tour guides, so on and so forth. So people, it's like a one-stop shop. If you are the sort of person that wants, that wants to keep the Black pound in circulation within the Black community, that could be and you're looking to book a holiday and you don't know what are the airlines or that you could use, or what you could go to this directory and it will have a list of all the companies that you could use depending on what you wanted to do and where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
But that's big picture, longer term thinking.
Well, I mean, I think it's helpful. I mean, ultimately, the process to start to get anything going, it's going to take a little while to get everything into place. So the more opportunities to put different things in place, the better. It will help shape it, because we don't know what this looks like yet. We are the ones that are shaping what this looks like. We have an idea, but we're not entirely sure what it will ultimately look like. I mean, there are a number of people that are doing tours in different places who are of African or African Caribbean heritage and have the same kind of idea that, we need to change the focus and the way that the travel industry works and benefits people. So, yeah. Are there any other contributions? Thank you, Mish. That was really, really good idea. Really worth looking at. Any other contributions? I'm just aware that we will be probably calling this to an end in the next 5-6 minutes. So if anybody who hasn't spoken would love to speak, we'd love to hear your voice. Please feel free to speak up, or even take your camera, or take it off. Open your camera. I don't even know what you say that. Yeah. So okay, if we don't have any other contributions, I'm going to hand over to Atiba just to sum up. Did you take notes, Barbara? I know you're often taking notes of what's being said. Perhaps you could do a quick summing up of the kind of things that we've said, and then
yes, so I've got a notepad and a pen here.
Wonderful. We can always trust you to take notes. Excellent.
Yeah, so again, what's it called? So like I said, I'm going to be speaking to I'm going to be formulating something off the back of what we spoke about and what we was already planning anyway. And I'm going to be hopefully, speaking to these people tomorrow again. And hopefully we have a positive outcome. And yeah, as always, it's been a beautiful time being on air. And I shall see you all next week.
Yep. It's again, thank you for giving up your time and sharing your experiences and your ideas with us. We are moving forward and looking at the next steps. This is a process. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. You've got to put all the pieces together to get see the full picture. And that's where we're going. So yeah, have a blessed Wednesday evening. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll have some news about finally having an in real life Diamond Roundtable gathering.
Good night, all.
Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you, sis.